Bhante, visto che non... Bhante, since there are no more questions, I suggest to use the next 15 minutes to have some advice for all us that we are all lay people, some advice to about how to manage our lives.
Daily life.
Daily life.
Daily life, yeah. Well, there are these various areas, you know, like, for instance, the work we do, our relationships, what we do with our free time. So the work we do, it becomes something joyful if it is meaningful to us. If we have work that is sort of naturally helpful towards others, say, for instance, in the caring industry, then it's easy for us to find meaning in that sort of work. There are times, even when you are working in a profession which is caring, that you might lose your enthusiasm. So in a sense, what we have to do then is practice this metta to connect. Yeah. If we're doing work which we, you know, which is work we don't want to do, then we still have to find some way of making it meaningful. And I think always to look upon whatever work we do as a service is very helpful. That takes the stress off us of always trying to make ourselves happy in the work, because it makes us happy.
No. Maybe it's better you repeat, Bhante.
Huh?
Can you repeat?
Repeat. It's very difficult for me to remember what I said. So if we do something out of a sense of service, it will make us happy because we're doing something for somebody else, even if what we're doing doesn't have much meaning for us. I mean, even stacking the shelves at a supermarket, if it's done with a heart of service, that you're doing it for the benefit of others, it will naturally bring us a sense of joy. But if we think of it just as a job, you know, just to earn money, then it becomes miserable. Yeah. And often when we're working or just in daily life, we have this sense of wanting to be perfect, wanting to do something perfectly. But when we have the idea of perfection, we're always working towards an ideal. And an ideal, by definition, cannot be attained. So if we have a different understanding about doing something in a way that's excellent. So what I mean by that is that we've done the best we can, and you can't do any more, and we should accept that. That's the end of my possibility. So and the other thing that makes us unhappy is always comparing ourselves to others. So either we think we're better and it makes us feel good, which is a false feeling. Just because you feel you're doing something better than somebody else is not going to affect what you do. It doesn't help you do what you do better. It just creates a competition, which is not necessary. And of course, if you compare yourself and you're not as good as somebody else, then it makes you miserable. This is the problem with conceit. Sometimes we think we're being humble when we say, I'm equal to somebody. But when you're equal to somebody, you create a group of equals. And this group of equals always thinks itself better than or worse than other groups. So the idea of comparison, you know, can make us either falsely happy because it's based upon what we think is, it's based upon a relationship of I'm better than somebody else, and that lifts your sense of pride, or it makes you unhappy if you say if you think yourself you're worse. Is that too much?
So there are three kinds of conceit.
Yes, there are three kinds of conceit. When it comes to people, when it comes to other people, we have this problem of it sounds terrible, but using the other person to make me happy. So in any given relationship, there's always that level of friendship, which is one of caring, relating, but there's also usually some level of dependency. And this manifests in controlling the other person, trying to control the other person, or the opposite, being controlled. So whenever we get angry with somebody, it's usually because they're not doing what we want them to do. And say an opposite would be making somebody angry with us so that our feelings of lack of confidence, lack of self-respect, self-hatred is reinforced. I think just as a general statement, in any relationship where there is some negative mental state, then it's an expression of some sort of dependence. And then, of course, there's the other side of trying to develop the virtues. Yeah. One thing I think I've said before is the importance of generosity. If we can develop generosity by developing the quality of gratitude. When we feel thankful for what we've received, there's a natural desire to do something in return. You've only got to think about, you know, your parents, your friends, the education that society has given us, yeah, the health system. No matter how bad it all is, it's still giving us something. Then there's a natural desire that you want to do something in return. So when we're being generous, we also have to give up what we would use for ourselves. So if I'm making a donation or something like that, the money I'm giving, I could have used for myself. Yeah. If I offer my time, help somebody, I'm using time for their benefit, not for my own benefit. And what this does is it undermines that sense of self, which, remember, always wants to accumulate things for itself. And that's basically the path to liberation. There's also an attempt to, you know, we try to connect with all human beings. I'm very taken by the philosophy of South Africa, Ubuntu. So this is with the Zulu and the Bantu tribes, people like that. Bantu, yeah. Yeah. So they have this understanding. I am because we are. In other words, a real sense of connection and interdependency with not only the friends and your immediate society, but with everybody on the planet, a sort of connection. So this develops also a natural attitude of generosity.
Okay,
but also,
no, sorry, please go ahead.
There's also a distinction to be made between empathy and compassion. If what we mean by empathy is that we try to connect with another person's feeling, it can be actually counterproductive. If we just, for instance, take these wars, you know, both in Ukraine and in Palestine, and we think about the children there, and yeah, and how they, you know, how the war is affecting them. Yeah, especially if you see a video or a picture, and you can feel that that connection with their suffering. If we do it for a moment, it can be a motivation. But if we keep doing it, we may find that we exhaust ourselves. Compassion isn't like that. Compassion is an attitude where you see somebody suffering and you want to do your best to help them. We don't have to suffer what they're suffering to be helpful. So when we come from the heart of compassion, we're actually joyful.
Sorry, Bhante.
Sure.
Luca here. May I suggest we can end with some benediction?
Yes, we can end. Yes, no problem.
Okay. Thank you.
So the usual blessing is, may you enjoy may you enjoy good fortune. May all the devas and angels and the force be with you, and may you benefit from the may you benefit from the power of the Buddhas and the Dharma and the Sangha.